This is destined to be one of my most divisive videos ever, because NFTs seem to have an almost magical ability to spark verbose and extremely opinionated expressions, both against and in favor of. But let's talk about sports card NFTs. Before we get into this or that opinion about sports card NFTs, because opinions are like buttholes, we all have them, let's take a moment to understand where NFTs in general came from, what they are supposed to be, how they entered the sports card market space, and what the sports card NFT market is all about nowadays, as objectively as possible. And then I'll move on to discuss my personal thoughts and opinions about where it is now and where it could potentially go on down the road. I should mention at the outset here that I'm not an NFT expert, not even close. Everything I am saying in this video is being said to the best of my knowledge and current understanding, but I'm no expert. I'm just a dude interested in learning things and sharing what I learned. So what is an NFT? I'm not going to go deep in this video as to what exactly a non-fungible token is, but just briefly, an NFT is a digital asset that lives on a blockchain, such as Ethereum blockchain as an example. And a blockchain is essentially a decentralized platform where tiny bits of data are hosted in tons of different places, so that it is not possible to manipulate the data on the blockchain because of how spread out it is. Hacking a computer is like picking a lock on a door. Hacking data on a blockchain would be like trying to collect a million little individual pieces of sand on a massive beach and then somehow putting them in a specific order to unlock some magical puzzle. It's just not possible. An NFT is essentially a piece of digital art or a piece of media or a piece of something digital that has an imprint on the blockchain with certificates of authenticity and provable publicly accessible ownership data. This means that anyone can see the NFT right there on the publicly accessible blockchain, can know who owns it, can view it, but only the person who owns it can do anything with it. This means it's not forgeable, and it's just generally not possible for anyone who doesn't own the NFT to be able to manipulate it in any way. While a government or something could put a lien on a house or a freeze order on a bank account, or they could repossess a piece of art hanging on someone's wall, an NFT is unable to be manipulated by others in these kinds of ways, which is one of the reasons why many people like the security of cryptocurrency and NFTs more than traditional assets that could be stolen or lost in a fire or repossessed or lost in the mail or something like this. And no, an NFT is not anything like a JPEG, so no need to keep taking screenshots and claiming you now own that NFT yourself. There's not much different between doing that and taking a picture of a Michael Jordan rookie card or a $100 bill and then claiming you now own those. Both are equally ridiculous propositions, so let's get over that little joke if we may. Essentially, an NFT represents a certain value on the blockchain in a somewhat similar way to how the US dollar bill used to represent a certain amount of gold. It's not exactly the same as this, but for me, when I think about it this way, it helps NFTs feel less abstract, so maybe that'll be helpful for you too. I kind of wonder if when paper money was first created, people thought it was ridiculous too, like people do with cryptocurrency related stuff. Hey, looketh at me, I found a leaf on the ground, I have paper money just like Sir Rich-a-Lot, I must be wealthy now too, ha 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 ha. By and large, NFTs can be transferred from one blockchain to another relatively easily, at least between the major blockchains that exist. However, this is currently not the case with Panini NFTs, as they are created on the Panini blockchain, which is currently not transferable between other blockchains. Panini has created something that currently is very insular, but it is early on in the sports card NFT realm, and it may eventually be possible to transfer a Panini NFT to a different blockchain. I've heard people say this is something that Panini has talked about doing, but who knows what the future holds. But for now, a Panini NFT is tied to the Panini blockchain, meaning the only buying, selling, and trading that is currently possible is within that blockchain itself. Topps, on the other hand, has built its NFTs on the Avalanche blockchain, which is compatible with Ethereum and thus has more possibilities for movement and are less stuck in one place. Now let's consider Panini a little bit more first though, and then get back to Topps. When did Panini's NFTs start? While NFTs at large started as early as 2014, Panini didn't get into the NFT game until January of 2020, when they created their Panini NFT blockchain platform, and they were the first to introduce the concept of a sports card NFT. In June of the same year, Panini then released its first pack-based NFT, the 2021 Prism Basketball NFT. In order to prevent oversaturating the NFT market, Panini has put a lot of emphasis on keeping the mint runs, as opposed to print runs, relatively small scale, which is an important thing to mention because the scarcity or plentifulness of an NFT could potentially affect its value, much in the same way it would with a physical card. One important thing to mention here is that Panini, in creating their own blockchain for their own NFTs, essentially does not have their NFTs connected to cryptocurrency. Buying an NFT in most circumstances circumstances requires doing so with cryptocurrency, and or the value of that NFT is connected to the ups and downs in the value of cryptocurrency. But buying an NFT from Panini is not done with crypto, it's done with PayPal. Selling is the same. This could be considered an advantage by some who have no connection to the cryptocurrency world and just want some sports card NFTs, but in many ways it also seems to defeat the purpose as to what NFTs are supposed to be in the first place. NFTs and cryptocurrency in general are attractive to many specifically because they are decentralized assets that cannot be manipulated by any one organization or government or individual. But with Panini NFTs, it seems like they are entirely dependent on Panini itself, both for the NFT itself as well as for the health of the blockchain. Nothing else is going on that blockchain, and stuff on that blockchain can't go anywhere else. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something or misunderstanding something, but to me this seems to be against what an NFT is supposed to be, isn't it? Due to the current insular reality of Panini NFTs, it seems to me that they are almost more like digital cards rather than NFTs. But if Panini's NFT efforts do expand to include a digital wallet that allows people to transfer their NFTs to other blockchains, then it seems like it would be more like an actual NFT. At least that's how I'm seeing it. But again, I'm no expert. I'm just trying to figure all this out myself. I might be missing something. I likely am. If I am, let me know in the comments. I know some of you must know more about all this than what I do. Okay, so when did Topps NFTs start? Topps started their own NFTs in April of 2020, quite shortly after Panini did. Much of what they're doing is pretty similar to Panini, with one major difference. Topps did not start its own blockchain. Instead, their NFTs live on the Avalanche blockchain, which is quite an expansive blockchain. Avalanche is also transferable to the Ethereum blockchain, which, if you've only ever heard of one or two blockchains, is probably one of the ones you would have heard of. This means that the Topps NFTs are a bit more NFT-like, while Panini's are NFT light or NFT wannabes, at least until Panini sets up digital wallets that allow people to transfer their NFTs to other blockchains. It also means that the value of Topps NFTs are connected to the value of cryptocurrency. So theoretically, the value of a Topps NFT will increase or decrease depending on the health or failing health of cryptocurrency, not just on the market for the sports card NFTs themselves. Whether this is an advantage or a disadvantage is totally up to how you perceive cryptocurrency and its future, but I would suggest cryptocurrency is not something that is going to be going away. What is the sports card NFT market like? Now, I should start off by saying here that I don't own any NFTs, sports cards or otherwise. It's not that I'm anti-NFT or anything, I'm just not a rich dude and I'd much rather prefer to use my personal sports card funds on sports cards. I'm saying that because it means that my understanding of the sports card NFT market is entirely secondhand knowledge. But from my understanding, the sports card NFT market is relatively vibrant. When Panini first began its NFT thing, it was right around the time of the sports card value spike, and at a time when every card you bought could be resold for a profit, and NFTs rode a similar wave. And since that initial craze, quite a few people have stuck around and are still active within the sports card NFT market, so it's still a pretty happening place. Now for me personally, one of my own major concerns related to the health of the market going forward is related to the actual collectability of sports card NFTs. But this is a concern that many have told me is unwarranted, so I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing it in the same way as people who are more involved in it. The reason this is a concern to me is related to how it could negatively affect the long-term value of sports card NFTs. Let me see if I can explain my reasoning here. With physical sports cards, people involved in the hobby connect to it in a variety of ways. Some like flipping cards, some like investing in cards, but importantly, a very large number like holding them, collecting them, passing them on down to their kids and their kids' kids. The collectability aspect of sports cards is essential to it having a vibrant market. Without that aspect, there'd be no final spot for that card to sit, and it'd just be in constant motion between different owners. If no one wants to simply just keep the card, eventually the card wouldn't have much value. But it seems to me that most people in the NFT space are in it for the flipping and investing side of things, but not for the collecting side of things. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there truly are collectors who want the NFTs just to hold them the same way a dedicated sports card collector wants to just own their personal favorite sports card. But it doesn't seem to me that that is what the sports card NFT market space is all about. And I don't see people talk about NFTs in that way, kind of ever. I pretty much only hear about it talked about in terms of how much they're making from selling it or how they think it's going to be more valuable on down the road. But no market can forever just go up. And if people are in it just for making money, and there is like practically no one out there who actually wants to just hold on to it to collect it for the sake of collecting it, It seems to me that eventually someone will be holding on to these things that they paid a premium for, and then if the market goes down, they'll just want to offload them because they had no interest in holding on to it in the first place. And once that happens, won't the market just keep decreasing? If no one wants to actually collect them, then if the market did start to decrease, what would keep people into it? The physical sports card market space can ride a wave like that because there are so many people dedicated to the collector's aspect. For many, even if the value of their cards went way down, they'd still be involved in the hobby because they're collectors, they collect. But with sports card NFTs, if the values started going down, it seems to me that almost everyone would just try to figure out how to get out of it. I don't know, I keep saying this, but I'm totally open to the possibility that I'm seeing all of this very wrong. But nothing anyone has been able to say to me yet has convinced me that my opinion here is incorrect. So if I'm seeing something wrong here, please do let me know. I'm trying to learn here. One piece of advice that people often give to new sports card collectors is collect what you love. In that way, whatever happens to the market, you're good. If the market goes up and you have the opportunity to sell, you've made yourself a nice stack of cash. On the other hand, if the market goes down and those cards decrease in value, then you're holding on to cards that you love, and that's cool too. But if very few people actually love collecting and holding on to their sports card NFTs just to have them, then it seems to me that that would negatively affect the long-term value of the market for them. Doesn't it seem that way? But where could sports card NFTs go on down the road? Now this is kind of an interesting question to consider because though I have trouble seeing how the sports card NFTs in their current form are creating a long-term sustainable market, there are things that could be done into the future that could give them some unique possibilities. There have been some experiments here and there with different NFTs in the sports world, and some of them really make you think. The first forays into the NFT space by sports-related things, I would suggest, were kinda lame. The Golden State Warriors were the first sports team to launch an NFT collection, and they did so by creating a limited number of digital replica championship rings that people could buy and sell on a blockchain. Personally, I'd call that kinda lame. But more recently, there have been things like All-Star Game Access Pass NFTs that not only are digital assets that forever live on a blockchain and can be bought and sold, but they are also useful as like a digital ticket that cannot be stolen or forged or lost, that can be used for specifically designated purposes. Season tickets for your favorite sports team could potentially be obtained by buying an NFT that gives you access to all the games. And then once it's expired and your season tickets are finished, you still own that NFT, which could still hold some value on the open market or could be something you may want to keep and collect as a memento of your experience as a season ticket holder. I would suggest that something like this could make a sports-related NFT become more collectible, and if something is more collectible, then it has the potential to have an ongoing secondhand market space. But there are still some concerns I have related to the long-term sustainability of a strong market for buying and selling NFTs like this. One of my concerns is similar as to why I'm not convinced that the sports card ticket stub market is necessarily going to be much of a thing for the long term. Over the past year or so, when the sports card market boomed, people were looking left and right for other market spaces where they could make easy and quick money. And as a result, all kinds of outgrowths emerged parallel to sports cards. Sports card ticket stubs were one of those outgrowths that came from that. People were looking for another avenue for alternative investments, and this presented itself as an option for people just as people were making tons from sports cards. But whether or not it is something that people will actually be interested in collecting is a big question I have. I mean, I could see the historic interest in having a ticket stub from the first Major League game played by Jackie Robinson. That'd be amazing. That's historically significant. Or a ticket stub from a game where Babe Ruth hit his 60th home run or Roger Maris his 61st. Or a ticket stub from Michael Jordan's very first NBA game. I could see a handful of games that are just so historic in nature that those ticket stubs could be collectible. But other than just a few special games, most would only be of interest to people who are actually at the game, I would think. I worry that an NFT that started off as something like an all-access pass to All-Star Weekend or as a digital season ticket to all Lakers home games wouldn't have much collectability for anyone other than the person who used it to have those experiences. For anyone else, I just don't see why it would be particularly collectible, meaning I don't see much of a secondhand market for it, and thus the value of it would just decrease over time to practically nothing after its perks were no longer relevant. So though I could see a world where Fanatics creates sports card NFTs that create unique experiences for some, it's hard for me to imagine how that translates into something that holds long-term collectability and thus long-term value on the collectibles market. But all that being said, there could be some people out there imagining a lot more vibrant possibilities with sports card NFTs, things I just can't imagine on my own. What are your thoughts about sports card NFTs? Let us know in the comments below. But for now, peace.